Okay. Um, Real quick, at 1031 Financial, we deal with Delaware statutory trusts. As you see up here, the DST structure, the trust structure, allows big real estate or large real estate investment firms to create a wrapper around real estate to allow individual investors to buy a fractional position in the property that qualifies for like kind. Okay? So they can use it for their 1031 exchange so long as they're following the Revenue Ruling 2004-86 guidelines. And so back in 2004, when they got this ruling, it kind of triggered a whole industry that I think today has replaced most of the, during I think early 2000s, we saw a lot of tick structures. And there were a lot of problems with the tick structures due to the fact that you could only have up to 35 investors, so you had much smaller offerings. And then imagine instead of the investor being passive, they're active in the property, and when there's a problem, we got to get the 20 to 30 to 35 bosses in a room and have everybody agree in certain situations. So that caused a lot of pain and aggravation. Most of the sponsors in the space have moved to the DST structure. Our firm specializes in leveraging the DST offerings to provide scenarios and solutions to problems that people commonly face during their 1031 exchange, such as the 45-day deadline. It's day 44. They had a property identified. The deal went sideways. Now they're facing paying the tax. And to give you a little idea, let's kind of pop over. Here are a list of the current sponsors in the space. There's well over 50 sponsors. Our firm, unlike, let's say, a Morgan Stanley broker or your insurance broker, we represent all the sponsors in the space. So at any given time, we typically have 80 to 90 properties representing about the $4 billion worth of equity available to purchase at any moment. These particular DSTs cover different asset classes: energy, hospitality. We've got industrial, multi-student housing, multifamily, office medical, retail, self-storage, senior housing. Okay, so just to name a couple of the asset classes. Typically, we get involved in the process when the client, obviously, some of the other reasons people choose to do DSTs. Anyone here have a client say, I'm selling my property, I don't want to manage it anymore, but I don't want to pay the tax, so that's kind of been the bread and butter type client. We also wind up acting as a insurance policy or a backup for the 1031 exchange. We have products that have a refinance option in it. So a lot of times, anyone have a client say, I need to pull some cash out of my 1031 exchange, but they don't want to trigger any tax. So we have products that have a refinance option of 86% non-recourse. So that's been very popular in the marketplace. I want to kind of pop down to deed in lieu of foreclosure. Anyone see the tidal wave of problems? Oh, sorry, thank you. Okay. Everyone here realize that you're allowed to do a 1031 exchange with a deed in lieu of foreclosure. A lot of times, clients who are negotiating to hand the keys back to the bank don't realize that they can defer the tax consequences of the debt forgiveness that happens when they hand the keys back to the bank. So one of the problems, a lot of people, they're negotiating very hard with their lender, and they don't realize that they can defer it. But one of the problems is, let's kind of hop down to one of our, I know you guys were in for a long haul, so I'm skipping to the fun stuff. Here we go. So let's say somebody has a $10 million mortgage forgiveness, right? Non-recourse in this example. Typically with the larger buildings, a lot of times we see $50 million, $100 million loans. I think in the news recently there was Fortress just handed the keys back to the bank, $137 million. Now imagine if they realized in this scenario, I've got $10 million and basically they've got a $10 million debt forgiveness with a $10 million tax liability. At 32%, that tax bill is going to be $3.2 million. Okay? It could be 20, it could be 2 million, it could be 4 million, whatever the number is. However, in one of our products, we have it leveraged 85, 86, 87%. So typically, you can buy $10 million worth of real estate for only $1.4 million for investment. So when that client is facing that negotiation with their lender, if they realize that they have a choice of either paying a $3.2 million tax bill versus making an investment of $1.4 million, and all that debt on their $10 million purchase is non-recourse. So we work with investors, whether it's a small client that has $1.5 million in their 1031 exchange, and they say, hey, Scott, this $1.5 million represents 80% of my retirement income. So with a client like that, we're going to say, you know what? I think what we should do is break out your $1.5 million into separate, 5 separate $300,000 investments into 5 separate properties and create a diversified portfolio. We can diversify them geographically as well as by asset class. So this way they have a nice diversified portfolio. Recently, we've been doing a lot of transactions with land deals with the larger home builders in the United States with a shorter duration hold. Typically, we're seeing a 3-year hold, and they're paying 7%, and they've escrowed all the interest payments to the investors. So as part of this diversified portfolio, we'll include that allocation. So this way, the client, typically our DSTs go full cycle on average 5 years. By front loading some of the money in 3 years, now we can guarantee, well, not guarantee is a bad word, but we can provide them an early liquidity event in case their economic circumstance changes. If everything's okay, they can do another 1031 exchange with that particular money. It kind of goes to the back of the line, and now they're in a cycle where every year, year and a half, some of their money should be rolling over. So whether it's a diversified portfolio, whether it's a strategy to defer the taxes on a deed in lieu, which I think we're going to see about $1.2 trillion worth of mortgages coming up for refinance, and we have a lower interest rate being refinanced at a higher interest rate. A lot of properties are going to be underwater. They're going to be looking for solutions. And then, basically for other clients who want to pull their cash out, we also have a solution for that. We've had a lot of clients where debt replacement is an issue. And one of the big problems that we're going to see entering the market is splitting up a 1031 exchange into 2 purchases specifically to avoid going to the bank to get a mortgage. So if you have a client, you can, in this example, we have someone who sold for $3 million, right? They had a $1 million mortgage, $2 million goes to the QI at the closing. Now, instead of going and trying to buy another $3 million property, what they do is they go into the high LTV zero coupon DST, where they've got 86% leverage. They take $162,000, buy the $1 million worth of debt replacement that they need for their 1031 exchange, and then go with their broker and do an all-cash deal. So whether the number is $1 million, it's $10 million, or $40 million, we can provide non-recourse debt in a high zero coupon DST product, typically with tenants such as Amazon, FedEx, the regional FBI headquarters, very large institutional clients. So we're here to help. I like to say that the DST can be that insurance policy for the client on their 1031 exchange. They can ID a zero coupon, or actually the refi product, as their third property. If the two properties they identified, those deals go sideways, they can come back in, buy into that particular property, refinance out the money. Now that money that comes out, now they've embedded all the depreciation recapture and capital gains in the refi product. So when they get that money pulled back out, let's say on a $10 million property, they're going to pull out $8.6 million. That's also new cost basis that they can use when going to shop for the next property. So it's not bad to give the client an option for a second bite at the apple, and now they're back $8.6 million, and they still have a $10 million investment in an Amazon warehouse or a FedEx facility with a large credit-worthy tenant. So thank you for coming.